Traders War Room proudly presents the daily video with the best trading and investing alerts anywhere on any platform. With up-to-date stock, chart, and market news, TWR is simply your one-stop shop. Wednesday SITREP. Activate your 2-day trial of TWR All Access on the Discord platform. Stay tuned at the end for TWR Hot Products and Services. Wednesday SITREP. Comments from the front line. I had to share this, guys. A lot of you know I don't push too many of the comments that we receive on the daily from the members because I like to let my style, my track record, and just the TWR platforms as themselves speak for themselves. However, this guy showed a ton of love, and he also spoke to something that I wanted you guys to kind of understand, all right? Yes, TWR is a smaller firm, okay? We're not on the level of the big boys yet, the JPMs, the Morgan Stanleys, the Goldman Sachs. We're not there yet. But all of those individuals, the high-powered profiles, they all started somewhere, right? They started just like TWR, okay? Grassroots. And they grew to huge successes because they stayed loyal, they stayed truthful, they had high levels of integrity, and they took their customer and clientele base at the bottom and they rose with them on their journey. This guy spoke truth to that, man, because we try hard at TWR, and while we are smaller, that does not mean that we don't have the skill set. That doesn't mean we don't have the competency. That doesn't mean that we don't have everything that the big boys offer. But guess what? We probably got it at a competitive lower rate. And because we don't have the volume that these big boys have, we're also probably able to give you guys more one-on-one time and dive deeper. And do we make mistakes? Absolutely, man. We're human. It happens. But our successes far outweigh our failures, and we truly care about every member that we have. And I want you to see this testimonial from one of our members who gets it, and he shared it publicly because he wants everyone else to know who he rocks with, and he rocks with TWR, baby. So thank you guys for everyone that shows us love. Thank you guys for everyone that is on this journey with us. We're riding this thing together. And as always, we're going to go to war with the market, and we're going to attack it, conquer it, and destroy it together, guys. If you got comments like this or you want to show some love, please drop them in the comment box because I love to hear them, and I want to highlight you, and I want to shine with you out there to the world. Alert update. We had a pretty good day in the market. Take a look at this trade here. Apple took a 170 call. We entered at 88. We closed at a 170. That's almost a 2x on that one. We like that trade right there. AMD trade, we took a 93 call. I have the date wrong on there. I do apologize. Sometimes you get fat fingers. It's 21 April. We entered 97. We trimmed out at 122. That's good for about $25. Baba, we've been struggling on this for a while. We averaged down a couple times. It's been a pretty, volatile swing trade. So we went ahead and closed position here. Entered this Baba trade at 95. Expiration on Friday. We saw 103 and we went ahead and took the money and run. Disney, we got the downward pressure we thought we would get, especially with all that government news that's going in. The 98 put, we entered in at 102. We went ahead and trimmed out at 134 today. Nice day trade here. SPY 418. We got the 415 put, entered at 92. Came out 159, all position, all profit. This was a swing trade that TWR was in for a while. We went ahead and did the Goog, that 421, 106 put, entered in at 58. Went ahead and closed out at 210. That's over 260%, and that's what I call payday, baby. Meta caught a decent little bullish push on the day, 217.50 call, 421 expiration. We entered at 150. Went ahead and took profit at 210. That's 40% profit right there. You bring that stop loss above break even, and that equals risk free. Airlines were popping. Look at this UAL trade, $45 call, 55 entry. We took it out at 137, and that right there is payday, baby. And I did forget to put the expiration date inside the chat. The expiration date was pushed for this, which was the 21st. $100 to $1,000 per day is possible as a trader's war room market warrior. So quit wasting that money that's not making money and join TWR today. All links are in the description. Hot off the press. All right, so top news starting off, Tesla, right? Underwhelms investors. Their net income and earnings dropped more than 20%. So you got a bull versus bear case with Tesla, right? The bulls are saying, hey, look, we're below 20% on our margins, but we're not concerned with margins right now. We're concerned with market space. We want to clog up the market. That's why we're cutting vehicles. And guess what? Even below 20, sitting at 18, 17, even 16%, we are still leap and bound over the competition, which are actually most of them negative or at the very low single digit level. So there's a huge gap. Tesla is clearly the leader, and the bulls are saying, you know what? Quit knee jerking on us. This is nothing because we're still the leader in this space. The bears are saying, hey, you guys promised you wouldn't be below 30%. And guess what? You guys dropped below 30%. You guys promised you would never see below 20%. Look, here you are below 20%. And they're looking at it like it's not a growth company anymore. In fact, it keeps coming in and in at lower, and they think it's probably because, the CEO, Elon Musk, has been off too much and he's all over the place and not focused on what's the profit-driving company in his arsenal, and that's Tesla. So we'll see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Tesla green by the bell tomorrow because, we've been seeing a lot of knee-jerk reactions, and then we get that investor sentiment because they see the price as a great entry point to get their position started out. Next story up is Apple. Bets big on India, but will still rely on China for years to come. The big deal with India is that they want to lower their footprint in China amidst some of the issues that the U.S. and China and with Russia are having right now. So they don't want to rely on the Chinese for their products and services and their output. So they want India in the game. And India, the strategic plan for that is to have India at 25% of their global income, for the products and services. So that'll be interesting to see. India is extremely important for Apple right now, and India likes Apple being in their country. So that'll be interesting to see. And then finally, the Asian markets largely lower as investors weigh move on Wall Street earnings. Basically, earnings are coming in. The banks, JPM, Bank of America, and some of the other banks have really been outperforming, and some of these mega caps have come in with mixed, earnings. They had some good stuff, they had some bad stuff, they had some okay forward guidance, so on and so forth. So it'll be interesting to see how we close out this week because really the earnings season just gets into full steam going into next week, and we got some huge mega caps coming up, and there's going to be a lot of money to be made going both long and short. So make sure you keep your head on a swivel, you keep loaded up with that ammunition so that we can go out there and attack it. Hot trends. All right, so with the underwhelming earnings that are coming out, the market has turned bearish, all right? The leading index is the IWM, and we talked about this the other day that we thought this one would be up because it was lagging behind the others, and it shot up today. The market momentum, however, is still bullish, and the hottest sector is utilities. Here's the SPY, and we're still holding those elevated levels, and so we're still into the bullish mindset as far as the S&P is concerned. The Q should be watching. People should be watching this. Look at this. We're kind of consolidating here at the top, okay? We kind of dumped a little bit towards the bell, but is this a breakout or a breakdown? I don't know. We'll have to find out when the bell rings. But if these earnings keep underwhelming, especially from the big tech mega caps, then we'll probably be looking to some downside pressure on the Q. However, if we can keep the momentum steady, we might be looking for a decent breakout, and 320 is just a knock from where we're at right now. And here's that IWM. We were talking about this the other day. We were down low. We were the laggiest of the big time sectors, and today we were actually up as far as the other sectors were concerned. So we're definitely paying attention to this as we move forward and we close out this week and we enter into earnings season. Here's the market map so you can see what was moving and shaking and where the big moves were made and with what particular stocks. Top 10 biggest gainers, ISRG. Man, look at that, 10% on that one. We'll be looking for some continuation, just a little bit more. I think we get a decent pullback, but I think we get a little bit more push to the upside before we pull back. I'd like to see this breach 300, and then that 301, 302 area will probably hit some of that resistance and probably cool down a little bit. ABT was up pretty decent as well, and we got a few other ones that are on our minds that we're paying attention to. Here's your biggest losers, and out of these, the ones I really like, and I want you to consider some of these for share accumulation, especially on these dips. Vale, definitely, that's that Brazilian mining company, okay? We like that one for long term, all right? So picking up shares here around $1,400 or $14, not a bad idea. Also, Cisco, okay? We like Cisco in this area, all right? Cisco is one of those slower moving growth over times. It won't do anything spectacular short term, but it's one of those that, you know, you buy it, you forget about it, you look at it 6 months and you're like, oh man, this thing's like $60. You know what I mean? So it's definitely one we like. Ford, I want you to think about starting a opening position. If you don't have any Ford, right now is the time to buy. Okay, it's cheap. You can go in and, you know, in the next 2 to 5 years, Ford is due to be competitive in this EV race. So definitely it's something to pay attention to. And Dell, I've been seeing a lot of bullish sentiment moving into Dell, okay? Now, Dell has been kind of underperforming. It's been like Hewlett Packard, okay? You know, Dell Compute, they are still a mega company, okay? They are still pushing out computers, and you know, it is not uncommon to go into an office space and see just a whole slew of Dell computers, all right? So definitely at this price here for Dell, this is definitely a decent period to go ahead and start hopping into Dell, because I think that the downside is pretty much bottom out on this, and that it's time to start buying these and getting your positions long. Here's the sector rotation picture, and we're starting to notice that our green ones, remember those communication services and the technology, they're starting to push down into our red ones, the utilities and the healthcare. I really want you guys to start paying attention to these utilities, okay? Utilities are really interesting, and a lot of them are beat up severely, and when they pop hard, okay? So definitely paying attention to the utilities. We're also paying attention to these blues, the industrials and the consumer staples. People and the big time analysts are saying that the industrials, because they've been beat up for so long, the industrials might prove coming into this next 10-year push, once we get out of this, you know, kind of wonky market, they might end up being what FANG was the past 10 years. The industrials may end up being that, because it's time to rebuild America, and a lot of investors are putting a lot of money into the infrastructure stuff. Here's your sector performance. Utilities, the biggest rallier. Real estate coming off, but real estate's been beat up so hard. So any type of bullish momentum on real estate is going to push the sector. Communication services and energy, your biggest laggers. Here's some large insider transaction. Of course, you got some of the banks in there. What you need to understand about these large insider transactions, you notice the dates. The dates are previous dates, right? Well, a lot of these large insiders, they push their form, and then we don't get the information of the insider trades until, you know, days, weeks, and even sometimes months later, right? So when you see these, a lot of times these are already done, and they're done formally through, like, you know, pushing different forms with the IRS and the government and stuff like that. But it's important to pay attention to, because then we can go into the stock and look and see, okay, at these particular prices, JPM is being purchased as they're expected a bullish move. And we can look to see what's happened in the chart recently and make a determination whether it's potentially broke out from some bullish insider investment, or if we might be floating in this little consolidation or is broadening, and we're looking for an impending move, either breaking up to the downside. Here's your flow, kind of 50-50. I would say leaning a little bit to the bull side, but with bearish sentiment long term, okay? So bull side short term, bearish sentiment long term. Dark pool, no surprises here. SPY, the biggest one. Q, second. We got the big boys in here. Apple, Amazon, Meta. And we got a few other names that are starting to track in. BABA. Paying attention to Baba, okay? We recently had a trade. We showed you that trade in the alert update. We're paying attention to Baba, okay? It's one of our preferred Chinese stocks that we actually like for a push to the upside. You options players out there, here's your unusual derivatives, guys. And what we like about this is we're paying attention to the unusual derivatives that were pushed out so we can try to get a gauge of the sentiment in the overall market and see where the big boys are putting their money. The top stocks with the highest implied volatility. And why do we like these? Because what creates dramatic pushes and binary moves in the stock market? It's the implied volatility, okay? That intrinsic versus extrinsic value, all right? So the implied volatility is pushing or expecting a potential dramatic push either to the upside or the downside, and we like that because if we can catch before the break to the upside or to the downside, that right there is making bank. And right here, we have your open interest. And what we like about open interest is it still shows that investors are content with the particular trade that they have. So when you see increased open interest, it means there's more investors that are in this and they still think that the dramatic push going one way or the other is still valid. When you start to see the open interest close, it means the investor sentiment is starting to turn against the trend that it wants to go, and they're starting to close their positions and take profits. And finally, you have the movers and shakers, and no surprise, Tesla, the biggest ticker on everybody's watch list. We also got Rivian and NIO that our sentiment plays to that. IBM just had a fantastic earnings report. The Qs are in there because of the big mega cap techs. Zion, we got Snap. They got new augmented reality and artificial intelligence going into their platform. So definitely, guys, there's a lot of moving and shaking, and this earnings season is starting to really heat up. Stocks I like. Here's how the alerts will go. Purple line, that's the bow zone. That's where the fight is going to happen at. And then the blue line on a break from the battle zone, that's where we're looking for follow through to the bull side. And the red line is going to be follow through to the red side. All right, so Tesla, man, definitely was a sad push to the downside. I do think, however, we'll find some support down here at the bottom, and I wouldn't be surprised if we find ourselves back towards 180, maybe at the bell during pre-market, depending how much bullish push we get, but potentially throughout the market day if we keep a bullish sentiment going on the Thursday trading session. But we do got some pushes. The battle zone there at 167 and 171, that's where the fight's going to happen. We'll see whether we can breach to the top or to the bottom and get some follow through where you see the blue and the red line at. IBM, huge push on earnings. We got a great big outside bar forming. We got the battle zone right there, 129 to 128. It's a pretty tight area with follow through going into 131 on the upside and 125 to the downside. Ali, bank coming up on deck, okay? Battle zone right there, 27 and 26 with follow through pushing through the 27s into potentially 28 or pushing to the downside 26 and wherever it decides to go. So regional banks have been holding up fairly well as the bigger banks. So it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out when that bell rings. TSM getting juicy down here at the bottom. I like this one for a push to the upside. Battle zone 87 and 86 range. I think we get that push to the upside. This will trend with the other semiconductors, but down here at this level, I'm liking this. I think maybe if we get the downward push, we find support at that 85 range, and then we get a decent rocket ship up off to the upside. So I do think that this is good to go for continuation to the upside. I just think you might need to be patient with this here while we kind of iron out some of this issues with China, the US, and stuff like that. But I do like this one for the continuation to the upside. NIO, this is going to ride coattails. It kind of dumped with sentiment with Tesla. It's kind of rangy right here. We got that 895, 866. This kind of has been trading fairly tight with not so much dramatic push to one side or the other. But I do think if we get the break to either the upside or the downside, we can get a nice, kind of push one way or the other. So definitely purple battle zone with follow through to the up and to the bottom in blue and red. AA, I'm liking what I'm seeing on AA. If we can hold this level, okay, we got a nice little knee-jerk reaction to the downside. I think if we can breach that 40-50 range, we get the nice push to the upside to go re-attack the 42, potentially breaking out. But if we keep the waterworks on and we keep following down, then we're looking at the 38 and 37 with potentially even coming down to 35 if it catches the true waterworks and the cascading effect to the downside. But I do think that we'll find some support here at the lower levels and we should pop up. And if you got time, this one is a decent one with decent premiums that aren't so juiced that you can look for mini leap trades or even leap trades. And I do think at this price, grabbing up on shares for a position long, when we're talking 3 to 5 years, but starting out with your shares would be a good idea in this particular stock. Snap, any of you that follow me know that I love me some Snap, okay? Right now at the price we're at, guys, this is share accumulation, okay? Anywhere in this range below $11 is a good time to get yourself a starter position. This thing in 3 to 5 years is going to be back up to $30, so you're 3x your money, okay? You might as well buy it while it's cheap. I got high hopes for this. They're a solid company. The CEO is a rock star, and adding in the augmented reality with their artificial intelligence platform and having a paid subscription to the Snap with bringing in new, fresh population is a bullish push in my opinion, and I think we get a nice push up to the upside sooner than later. Google, we haven't been seeing much movement either to the upside or downside, kind of ranging, okay? Battle zone, 104 and 103, all right? We need to break to one side or the other. Once we can break either one side or the other, then we can start getting some movement to the upside or to the downside, but we got to get out of this rangy area. So I am thinking that we'll get a decent push to the upside. I'm still bullish on this one. I think if we keep up a bull momentum closing out into this week, we'll get a decent push on Friday, and potentially we can start looking for other trades. We're already in a call that expires on Friday, so we're hoping to come out of that with some decent money. It's a little out of the money. It's fairly cheap, but I'm definitely still eyeballing if we can get that momentum, some further out calls pushing out until the end of April and going into May. Upcoming events. Activate your 2-day trial of TWR All Access on the Discord platform. We cover it all at Traders War Room, whether you're looking for stocks, options, futures, Forex, crypto, or even sports betting, or you want real-time alerts, live trading, algo signals, or even if you just want to be part of a community of like-minded investors to grow, learn, and share together as a team. Something for everyone at Traders War Room. Activate your 2-day trial today and go to war with TWR. Plan your battles with Traders War Room classes. Join TWR on 23 April at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time and learn how to trade and find chart patterns utilizing technical analysis with TWR instructor Chuck Fu. Technical analysis exists because market trends exist, and those trends create patterns. The big difference between new traders and experienced traders is the ability to find the trade before the break, up or down, for huge profit gain. That's where TWR comes in. Chuck Fu will teach you what to look for in A+ setups so you can win and make money. Register for class today. The link is in the description, or go to traderswarroom.com/upcoming classes. I will see you there, and as always, let's go to war. Join the TWR Investment Club. Are you tired of trading alone, losing more than you're winning? Or are you just too busy with work, family, and life to focus and hit the market bullseye? If that's you, then join the TWR Investment Club. We trade the account for you and then pay you profit and loss distro. Year to date, TWR is up 22%. We run both a 30-day and a 6-month club. Sign up today for TWR's next ITC club, which is the Christmas Club. The club runs from 1 May to 1 December, and all P&L will be distroed just in time for Christmas. Sign up today for any questions as the club closes on 20 April, and the link is in the description. The market is our war zone, and stocks are the battle. Join TWR and let's go to war. Make the market bend the knee in 2023. Join Traders War Room and bow to no one. Let's go to war.